wanted it? You wanted it? You wanted it, bitch? You wanted it, bitch? Oh!
Bro, you just didn't have an answer here, bro. That's like what's wrong with you.
These young boys are acting just like the black women that bore them. See, if you talk to a black woman right now, no matter what she does, it's not wrong. So you watch these dudes sit up here and they have no remorse for what they're doing. And then you wonder why people shoot them. Well, let me point something out. People didn't like what I said in the knockout game video. When I said if you see these little niggas coming at you, you should probably shoot them. Well, if this woman had a gun and she had followed my advice, we'd have one less nigga to worry about instead of another violent nigga that's on the street. Now, of course, Barack Obama likes to tell you we need to ban guns. Well, let me put this out to Barack Obama and help him out. You could stop more crime, Barack Obama, if you just ban niggas. You can keep the guns, just ban niggas. Now, I understand what you're thinking. He's black. How can he say that? I understand that the world might not even know the difference between blacks and niggas. And at this point, I'm willing to take the sacrifice. I'm willing to say that if they just decided to just find out all the jackasses who were raised by these jackass bitches who give them jackass names because they were born with jackass names. If you don't know who your motherfucking baby daddy is, that's not your motherfucking man. You brought that kid into the world and you already didn't have no money. You brought that kid into the world when he said he don't want it. You a bitch. You bring that kid into the world anyway just because you got pregnant, because it's a biological function, even though motherfuckers go through all that damn Roe versus Wade to give you all these damn options to stop that shit. You don't even ask the dude, do you want to be a father? You get to make a nigga be a father, and then you produce these motherfucking kids that are being sponsored by the government? Yeah. Banning niggas would probably solve 80% of the crime in America. Barack Obama, since you want to ban guns, which can't work without somebody using them, you could ban niggas who actually have free thought and actually go around ruining everyone's life. Right now, I'm dealing with a group of niggers who fuck with me all day, but they don't stop any crime in their neighborhood. They don't stop any slappings like this, rapings like this, killings like this. They can't get together online to even help educate children. But they can get together online to try and fuck with me, to try and destroy everything I built without them. For years, 20 years, 15 years, none of you motherfuckers gave a shit about me. People I knew, people was in my family, didn't give a shit. Whatever was going on, you didn't have a signboard saying you need to do that right. Now all of a sudden, when a nigga has gotten his life together, motherfuckers show up to destroy it. Same damn thing you have here. Niggas show up to fuck shit up. That's all niggas do. They don't build anything. That's why you can't look around and why they gotta go back, harken back to we built this country. The only reason you black motherfuckers were able to build a country is because you were enslaved by white people. Had white people given you the fucking freedom and walked off the land, America would look like crap. America wouldn't even be America. It'd be taken over by somebody else. That's a fact. You need a damn slave master to get the majority of niggas to do what they supposed to damn do. If you don't have slave masters or police or something like that, niggas is gonna fuck it up. Look at every damn country on the planet. Niggas fuck it up. But you don't like me saying that. Well, I don't give a damn. Because I'm sick and tired of seeing uncivilized people that happen to look just like me and pretend that they're not uncivilized. I don't get on a bus full of white people and think, I might get shot. I don't get on a bus full of white people and think, I might get robbed. I don't get on a bus full of white people and think, I might get punched. I don't go on the fucking internet and think white people are going to start fucking with me and destroying what I built. Never thought it. But niggas, you got to worry about if they're going to show up at your fucking house. Niggas, you gotta worry about if they're gonna rob you. You can't even call a motherfucking black prostitute without thinking some thug niggas is coming with this bitch to rob you. How many niggas you done seen in the news that done called a black prostitute and got shot or robbed? Barack Obama, if you could turn this into a bill, ban niggas, you know it for a fact That's why you don't hang with niggas. You know it for a fact, and any other rational black person knows you do not hang with niggas. These niggas ain't shit. These non-speaking Jamarquavius motherfuckers, these niggas that get more damn credit for being 4 years in jail than being 4 years in college. These motherfucking hoodie wearing sons of bitches where y'all said, my son could have been Trayvon. These niggas walking around with hoodies ain't out doing no damn good. I'm sick of you trying to act like, oh, every kid wet. No, niggas is fucked up. Niggas is jackasses. And if you got an opportunity, when you see one of them come up on you, if you don't know this motherfucker, you don't owe this motherfucker nothing, he ain't your homeboy. Do whatever the fuck you need to do to get him out your fucking face. This is why we need to make sure that they understand the Second Amendment needs to be upheld. And we don't need people to talk about, let's take guns out of the hands of regular citizens. Because I wish this white woman had had a gun. Here's what I really wish would happen. All the white people who saw this happen online right now, that they round themselves up, some good old boys in some trucks, and they go through that neighborhood. And since none of them niggas would do nothing, I know why the white people sat down, they were scared, because it was a shitload of niggas around. And if you stood up to do anything, you probably get killed, which is fucked up. But they get them good old boys together and ride through that motherfucking neighborhood one night and let off. I mean, clean that motherfucker out. Because I'm sick of niggas. I don't go through any place where it's predominantly white and honestly think, well, I gotta watch my back. But everywhere you go that's predominantly black, you feel like you gotta watch your fucking back. No matter where it is in the United States. You see a bunch of niggas, you gotta watch your back. You go down to New Orleans, if it's a bunch of white people on the street, you never feel like, oh, I might get robbed. If it's a bunch of niggas on the street, you know you gonna get robbed, but you know somebody gonna get robbed, and you know somebody gonna get shot, and you know a fight gonna break out in that bitch. And you can get mad at me all you want, and every one of you niggas who get mad at me, none of you would move into a black neighborhood. None of you would. None of you niggas online who talk all this shit about me, none of you would say, well, let me go to one of these black neighborhoods to prove to Tommy how down I am. Almost every nigga that claim they don't like me does it from the comfort of their fucking house. They didn't even go show up at the damn Million Man rally, and I did, and I'm a coon. So ain't it funny? Anyway, Barack Obama, I hope this gets across your desk. Ban niggas. Put a ban on niggas. Put a ban on these bitches who can just lay down and have a kid by anybody, be on child support, put him in jail while she gets to collect motherfucking benefits from the government. Put a ban on that shit. Oh, and P.S. We have no idea where this is. It will take niggas to turn them in unless the white people turn them in that are there. So here's the thing. Since niggas won't turn each other in, what do you think would happen if a white boy did something like this? And other white people wouldn't turn them in. What do you think those white people would be called? Well, every one of them would be called racist. They would be protecting the white man. They protecting those racists. This is a hate crime. This should be looked at as a hate crime. It won't be, but if you change the situation and there was some white boys circling an older black woman and slapped the shit out of her, we'd have Black Lives Matter movement. Barack Obama would be on TV giving a motherfucking speech. Yet right now, nobody knows where this happened, when this happened, or nobody gives a shit. Barack Obama won't say nothing about this. About the little niggas that's in his city, Chicago, that's running around fucking shit up. Nope. He won't take guns out of people's hands. He don't want to take motherfucking niggas out of the streets. Remove niggas from the streets. Guarantee you America be a better place. Every street you move niggas out of, have a certain amount of niggas that can live in each city. Watch what happens. I'm Tommy Sotomayor. This is TNN News. Raw. Fuck you and good night.
Be with us as we offer up a prayer for the end of white supremacy.
I want people to come into our country in the largest numbers ever.
An unrelenting stream of immigration. Non-stop. Non-stop.
We will come here, we have been coming here, and we will continue to come here in hundreds of millions until indeed Gaddafi said Europe will turn black.
The theory of the Great Replacement is about demographic change. It's about this idea that, I mean, they also use the language of white genocide, the language that that white populations are shrinking ethnically due to demographic change, and that through birth rate replacement, there will be a shrinking and ever shrinking population of whites.
Some more news. The results of the 2020 census just came out, and for the first time in American history, the number of white people went down.
As you see in some of these groups, especially the extreme right wing, there's this conspiracy theory about the great replacement conspiracy, essentially, which says that there's this great plot to replace white people with immigrants from other parts of the world.
You know, the great replacement theory, which says that white people are being systematically replaced by brown and black people who are, you know, allegedly, according to this false conspiracy theory, being brought in.
I think one of the challenges that governments and communities across the world have to face right now is understanding that even if that's true, we have to find ways to frame demographic change in other ways.
Folks like me who were Caucasian of European descent, for the first time in 2017, will be in an absolute minority in the United States of America.
Los Angeles a month. By 1970, there'll probably be 1 million Negroes in this city. And I know that people are concerned about this. They may not talk about it very often, but I certainly heard them shudder in church when he said there'd be 1 million Negroes in Los Angeles.
We shudder because we're saying, in essence, the majority of these people are not like we are. And we felt that maybe some of us felt we left the South because we were getting away from this problem. We are a part of this exodus too. But we are a little maybe embarrassed by the fact that here we're going to have a mass element come in that's going to create a tremendous social problem in the community to which we find a great deal of difficulty in relating to.
Well, I don't want to sound like a do-gooder, because I really am not, and I'm somewhat of a snob. But I do think that with these people coming in who are not our intellectual equals, nor are they of our sociological bracket, they're not to be a handicap to us. They'll find their own level. Now, I do sound like a snob, but I don't mean it this way. But they're used to living a certain way, and they too might rise up above their origin, and might one day be our associates.
The whole tone of this meeting is we're setting ourselves up as little puppet Jesuses. We can't help anyone else until we help ourselves. The Negro has had two professions, his own medicine, dentistry, law, or psychiatry, and he's had the profession of being a Negro. And many of us have come out here to escape from this second profession of being a Negro. And we're out here a while and we're working in our own field, and then we find out that here these same problems are falling on the heels of 1,600 Negroes a month that come into Los Angeles. Now this gives us problems. It's our own view. It's our own identifying with these Negroes that are coming in with their carpetbags that causes us problems.
This is a basic embarrassment that we as Negroes have. We want to live together, yet we want to sort of scatter to the far winds and live amongst white people. We are brought up in terms of this.
And then there's the problem of death. If we're going to argue logically, the argument got to hold up on both sides. All the killing in our community ain't coming from white people. Come on, say amen if you can. We are killing one another. Our old people are scared to get out at night in their own community. They're not scared of white people. They're scared of young black boys on the street. Amen. No. All the killing that's going on ain't going on in River Oaks. It's going on in South Union, in Third Ward, on Cullen and Martin Luther King. Every street that's named after Martin Luther King across America is riddled with crime and death in the name of a man who stood for nonviolence. The church has got to accept some responsibility, because we in here singing and shouting shouting on Sunday morning. Let's get out here and go tell that young black boy and that young black girl, we gonna teach you how to love yourself more than somebody taught you how to hate yourself. Pull your pants up. Take your nasty pajamas off when you get up in the morning to go outside. Wish I had somebody to help me. Act like you got good sense. Talk like somebody's raising you. A whole lot of our problems are self-inflicted.
So if nearly half of all blacks are not okay with white people, according to this poll, not according to me, according to this poll, that's a hate group. That's a hate group. And I don't want to have anything to do with them. And I would say, based on the current way things are going, the best advice I would give to white people is to get the hell away from black people. Just get the fuck away. Wherever you have to go, just get away. Because there's no fixing this. This can't be fixed. Right? This can't be fixed. You just have to escape. So that's what I did. I went to a neighborhood where, I have a very low black population. Because unfortunately, there's a high correlation between the density. And this is according to Don Lemon, by the way. So here I'm just quoting Don Lemon when he notes that when he lived in a mostly black neighborhood, there were a bunch of problems that he didn't see in white neighborhoods. So even Don Lemon sees a big difference in your own quality of living based on where you live and who's there. So I think it makes no sense whatsoever as a white citizen of America to try to help black citizens anymore. It doesn't make sense. It's no longer a rational impulse. And so I'm going to back off from being helpful to black America because it doesn't seem like it pays off. Like I've been doing it all my life, and the only outcome is I get called a racist. That's the only outcome. It makes no sense to help black Americans if you're white. It's over. Don't even think it's worth trying. Totally not trying. You didn't expect that today, did you? But those who don't want to focus on education, you just need to get away from them. Just get as much distance as you can. That's my recommendation. And I'm also really sick of seeing video after video of black Americans beating up non-black citizens. I realize it's anecdotal, and it doesn't give me a full picture of what's happening. But every damn day I look on social media and there's some black person beating the shit out of some white person. I'm kind of over it. I'm over it. Right? So I quit.
Ending systemic racism requires contributions from us all, especially those of us who haven't experienced it ourselves. Now, I've been saying this for a while now. I'm going to keep saying it because I think it's important. We white Americans need to do a better job of listening when African Americans talk about the seen and unseen barriers you face every day. We need to recognize our privilege.
You wanted it? You wanted it? You wanted it, bitch? You wanted it, bitch? Oh! Bro, you just didn't have a chance, bro. That's what's wrong with you. That shit so damn stupid. He rode out that nigga bike. Yo. Nobody died, cuz. Cuz, y'all niggas stupid as fuck.
People will get respiration. All you other groups, you came over here willingly. We was forced to come over here. We was forced to come over against our will. We will get respiration.
Mr. Levin, it seems to me that Jewish individuals own a lot of the media and fund a lot of the politicians that make demands on behalf of the black community for things like reparations, while another group of Jewish individuals tend to take the intellectual lead in combating the initiatives that was proposed by this first group. The result being that black workers and white workers end up fighting each other while Jewish individuals assume leadership and profit from the situation. How do you feel your remarks fit into that?
Well, apart from profiting from the situation, I think you're largely right. I don't think that the Jewish leadership on either side particularly profits. I think they're doing what they are convinced is correct. My own view, frankly, is that Jews tend to take the lead, the intellectual lead in most movements. Jews tend to take the lead, the intellectual lead in most movements where it's possible, and so it's not surprising that the Jews would be articulating the case for reparations, and Jews would be articulating the case...
Take the lead in issues they create. I mean, the issue didn't exist until it was created by Jewish individuals.
Well, very well. I'm inclined to agree. I'd say take the lead in civil rights, generally speaking, take the lead in opposing them.
In creating issues and dividing people.
Well, I'll speak to Steven Spielberg about it and see what I can do. Yeah, I would point.
At the end of the day, any amount is too little, and every amount is never enough.
Your job is to hear us. We want transparency. First thing I said yesterday was the dead people in front of us. And we said for my neighborhood, the dead homeless. They will be respected and get reparations as well, to pass out to the people.
I think the reparations should be as follows. It's to be gifted to us with gold and silver bullion to, as I said before, my antebellum slaves and ancestors and their heirs. It should be measured in the amount of 1 troy ounce of gold and silver per each antebellum slave and their descendants according to the conditions of the mother for 16 generations. That equals 1,724 metric tons of gold and silver bullion. So we're asking that you give us reparations because America is number one on God's list to be destroyed. So if you don't accommodate us, and you don't assist us, just watch what our God is going to do to America.
America's benefiting from slavery and from what our ancestors did that we never got paid for. And I hope that you guys sue every other country that has benefited from slavery.
$200,000 is nothing for what my family has contributed to this country. We built this country. We serve this country honorably. We need reparations.
We are a very hard-necked people. We don't listen. It's time to run away from New York City. It's only going to get worse. Innocent blood has awakened, and it's not going to stop. If it's not going to be COVID-19, it's going to be BLM. If it's not going to be BLM, it's going to be BLS. And if it's not going to be BLS, it's going to be ALS. And if it's not going to be ALS, it's going to be A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. We have many letters till we can get to Z. Let's use the T word, tai-tai. Run from a place that is destined for darkness. And that includes Brooklyn. Any place ruled under liberal Democrats stands for justice, and it's going to burn like an inferno. I speak to my Jewish people. Run for the hills. Run while you can. Run to save your life, to spare your life, because the window is tightening. The window is closing. If you could run away from New York, do it today. It's not going to get better before it gets much worse. Run from a place that is destined for darkness. And that includes Brooklyn. Any place ruled under liberal Democrats stands for justice, and it's going to burn like an inferno.
Now, I'm not no Black Lives Matter supporter. Like, you're not? No, absolutely. Why not? Because it's not our movement.
Good morning, TikTok, and happy Friday. Yo, I've been looking at these comments on my post from yesterday about Brittany Griner. And I am so tired of these saltine motherfucking settlers coming on my post with their bullshit rhetoric. Not for racism. Okay, if you got left behind, and black people in this country have gotten the short end of the stick for long enough. When are y'all saltines gonna realize that we like motherfucking graham crackers over here? Stupid.
$200,000 is nothing for what my family has contributed to this country. We built this country.
African Americans built this nation. You built this nation. You know, you're just starting to get real credit for that. Okay, I don't know if you know that. You're just starting to get, you built the nation.
And I am so tired of these saltine motherfucking settlers.
We all built it, but you were such a massive part of it.
And I am so tired of these saltine motherfucking settlers.
Bigger than you were given credit for. Does that make sense? Right? But through generations of blood, sweat, and tears, and you deserve a government that defends your interests, protects your families, and cares for our own citizens first.
$200,000 is nothing for what my family has contributed to this country. We built this country. We built this country. We built this country.
Against your fellow man, but as sure as God made black and white, what's done in the dark will be brought to the light. You can run on for a long time, run on for a long time, run on for a long time. Sooner or later, gotta cut you down. Sooner or later, gotta cut you down. Go tell that long-tongued liar, go and tell that midnight rider, tell the rambler, the gambler, the backbiter, tell him that God's gonna cut you down. Tell him that God's gonna cut you down. Tell him that God's gonna cut you down. You can run on for a long time, run on for a long time, run on for a long time. Sooner or later, gotta cut you down. Sooner or later, gotta cut you down. Go tell that long-tongued liar. Go and tell that midnight rider. Tell the rambler, the gambler, the backbiter. Tell him that God's gonna cut him down. Tell him that God's gonna cut him down. Well, my goodness gracious, let me tell you the news. My head's been wet with the midnight dew. I've been down.
Particularly with the founding of the NAACP. Now, here's a little known fact. Many people don't even realize that W.E.B. Du Bois did not start the NAACP by himself. There were prominent Jewish Americans alongside him seeing this movement through. The Spingarn family, Joel Spingarn, professor at Columbia University, Arthur Spingarn, activist of the day, and another Jewish man, Henry Moskowitz. Now, he was a civil rights activist for Jewish causes at the turn of the last century. These men were deeply involved in spearheading the birthing of the NAACP, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. And Jewish people were alongside people of color to see that through. And they birthed it around the anniversary, the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Very interesting correlation there, too. But nonetheless, bear in mind, with that kind of history, we need to be closer than we are today. We need to be closer. And we can't forget that the NAACP served a righteous cause. Its embryonic stages were during a time of wanting to see injustices eliminated. So we can't forget men and women who are of African descent, particularly in this hemisphere, in this country, can't forget the help that came from the Jewish American community to see our causes advanced, to see them through. And that happened all the way up to the civil rights era. You had the prominent Jewish people involved in that as well. Dr. King was fully aware of the sacrifice that Jewish people were making for the civil rights movement in the 60s. You had one rabbi, prominent theologian. His name was Abraham Joshua Heschel. I mean, you don't get any more. Abraham Joshua, Jewish rabbi, theologian, walking with Dr. King in Selma. And Dr. King fully understood the importance of standing with Jewish people. And he was an ardent Zionist. We don't get too much into that regarding Dr. King's life, but he was. I mean, I have a quote here. I want to share this with the people. This quote, when I read this is from 1965, Dr. Martin Luther King. How could there be anti-Semitism among Negroes when our Jewish friends have demonstrated their commitment to the principle of tolerance and brotherhood, not only in the form of sizable contributions, but in many other tangible ways, and often at great personal sacrifice? Can we ever express our appreciation to the rabbis who chose to give moral witness with us in St. Augustine during our recent protest against segregation in that unhappy city? Need I remind anyone of the awful beatings suffered by Rabbi Arthur Levelveld of Cleveland when he joined the civil rights workers in Hattiesburg, Mississippi? And who can ever forget the sacrifices of two Jewish lives, Andrew Goodman and Michael Schwerner, in the swamps of Mississippi? Now, these are men who gave their lives for the cause. It stands to reason that they should be deeply connected. When you have blood shed on both sides for the same cause, there's a bonding that occurs. And that bonding created the golden age, or was a part of, I should say, the golden age of the Jewish American, African American connection. Finishing the quote. It would be impossible to record the contribution that the Jewish people have made toward the Negro struggle for freedom. It has been so great. Now here's the pinnacle representative of the civil rights movement, understanding the importance. Now we've taken our cues as men of color and people of color in this nation from Dr. Martin Luther King. And here he is giving a pretty sizable cue. We need to be closer knit with the Jewish American community. Not only that, to the cause of Jewry worldwide, if it means their survivability. And it does right now, especially with the existential threats that exist today against the nation state of Israel.
As early as 1928, the communists declared that the racial differences among our people constituted the weakest and most vulnerable point in our social fabric. By constantly probing and straining at this one spot, they calculated that eventually the cloth could be torn apart and that Americans could be divided, weakened, and perhaps even set against each other in open combat. We mustn't kid ourselves into thinking that the communists have placed their agitators only into the black communities. They're working both sides of the street. They want hatred, violence, and bloodshed between the races, and they don't care how they get it or whom they use, even children if necessary. Here is a book that I think ought to be in every home library. It's entitled Color, Communism, and Common Sense by Manning Johnson. He joined the party as a young man because he honestly believed that the communists were trying to improve the conditions of his people. He was a dedicated communist, and eventually he rose to one of the highest ranks. But after many years, he discovered that instead they were merely planning to use his people in a bloody revolution to destroy America. And when he woke up to this, he dropped out of the party and devoted the rest of his life trying to alert his fellow citizens of all races to the true nature of the Communist Party as he knew it to be from the inside. Manning Johnson said, "Black rebellion was what Moscow wanted. Bloody racial conflict would split America. During the confusion, demoralization and panic would set in. Then finally the Reds say, workers stop work. Many of them seize arms by attacking arsenals. Street fights become frequent. Under the leadership of the Communist Party, the workers organize revolutionary committees to be in command of the uprising. Armed workers seize the principal government offices, invade the residences of the president and his cabinet members, arrest them, declare the old regime abolished, establish their own power."
Your leftists in United States, all these professors and all these beautiful civil rights defenders, they are instrumental in the process of the subversion only to destabilize the nation. When their job is completed, they are not needed anymore. They know too much. Some of them, when they get disillusioned, when they see that Marxist-Leninists come to power, obviously they get offended. They think that they will come to power. That will never happen, of course. They will be lined up against the wall and shot. It's the same pattern everywhere. The moment they serve their purpose, all the useful idiots are either be executed entirely, all the idealistically minded Marxists, or exiled or put in prisons, like in Cuba. Many former Marxists are in Cuba. In prison. So most of the Indians who were cooperating with the Soviets, especially with our Department of Information of the USSR Embassy, were listed for execution.
Let's see what this lady has to say about white privilege.
So I've been thinking a lot about white privilege, and as black people, do we need to believe in something called white privilege? And what does it say for us as black people when we believe in this concept of white privilege? So white privilege is the concept that no matter what, if you're white, you're doing better than any black person ever because your skin is white. Doesn't matter if you're homeless. Doesn't matter if you're in prison. Doesn't matter, you're doing way better than every black person because your skin is white. So a lot of times these social justice warriors will say, oh, you're white, you don't have to worry about the cops harassing you. Well, I don't worry about cops harassing me. I'm a black woman and I live in Texas. I have actually been to jail for tickets. For 9 days I went to jail for tickets. And I'm not oppressed. There were more white people in there than black people, to be honest. I know that isn't the norm when it comes to prison sentences, that there are a lot of black people in jail. But I tell you what, a lot of black people deserve to be in jail because of the crimes they commit in their neighborhoods. Our neighborhoods have that, see? I moved out of the black neighborhood when I was a kid because my single black mother said, you know what? People are breaking into our place all the time, and we're not safe here. So you know what we did? We moved to the first white neighborhood that we could afford. Happened to be a trailer park, and we were the first black people in this trailer park. But it was safe. We never got robbed when I lived there. And I actually grew up in a town called White Settlement as a little black kid in Texas. And I do not feel oppressed. I got to go to college, and my SAT scores were not that high. They weren't really high enough to just grant me admission. But I had to get a little interview, and they probably saw, oh, black female, let her in. There's probably some white kid with more qualifications than me, better SAT scores, who didn't get in because I did. I have privilege. When I went to Ghana recently, there were black people in the first class section, and white people back there in coach. There's no such thing as white privilege. If you are getting bent out of shape by me saying there's no such thing as white privilege, then you're a black person that loves your victim status and you got a big fat chip on your shoulder that Mr. Steinberg put there through the media that you bought into. Or you're a white person who has some sort of social justice-y kind of white guilt and yet superiority thing going on, that you feel that you are superior and that you do have privilege, and you kind of, you know, want to keep that, and you don't want somebody like me saying, wait a minute, no, you're not privileged. If you go to work every single day and you work a 40-hour work week or more, you're not privileged. If you pay taxes, you're not privileged. You got a mortgage, you got a car payment, you're not privileged. If you had to apply for your job, you're not privileged. The real privileged people in our society are probably more like the movie makers, the politicians, etc., etc. And all of those people happen to be Jewish. So if we were to really break it down, say that Jewish people have privilege, not white people, not black people. You know, black people probably actually, due to affirmative action, have more privilege than white people. I had a friend whose husband, they're both white, he kind of fell in some hard times before they got together, and he went to get some food stamps. They told his ass to go get a job. He didn't get any food stamps. But if I were to make like 5, 6 babies, I'd get a house, I'd get food stamps, I'd get some cash. So that's privilege. The real people that are oppressed in our society are probably white men. They are probably white men. They are probably white men. They are probably white men. Those are the real oppressed people, because there's this campaign against white men that is it's really quite contrived. And it's really transparent. If you have any kind of IQ, you can see through this rubbish. And that's why the anti-social justice movement has so many fans. I, for one, am also a fan, because I don't want people policing language. I don't want people pulling out my race card and throwing it on the table whenever they see fit, that don't really like black people. The social justice warriors, I find, are the most racist of all. Whenever I say white privilege is a myth, they're the ones that get angry, and they say they feel sorry for me. Why do you feel sorry for me? Because I don't feel like...
Why is the white man always vilified for this, when it was the Jewish ships and the Arabs that were actually the biggest part of the slave trade?
You have to look at who is dominant in history as far as academia, literature, the publishing houses. Most of them are Jewish ran. It's just like with the mafia. Most people think Italian when it comes to the mafia, but it's really Jewish. Jews were behind the books. Meyer Lansky was the banker of the mafia. He handled the books. So it's like with everything else. The Jews will be behind the scenes. They'll put the blame on whites. They'll put the blame on Italians, or the blame on others. That's how they stay hidden to do their thing.
Now, the Arab slave trader brought his African merchandise to a broker in a large town, who put them up for sale in the slave market. Now, among the many brokers that were there in the Arab world, there were some brokers who don't like to be remembered now in the United States of America. These were the Jewish brokers who were in all the great towns such as Damascus and Baghdad. Yes. Yes, sir. What a lot of trouble Professor Jeffries got into. And all he talked about was the old Jew over there in Newport, Rhode Island. But what about the Jews of Amsterdam? The Jews of Lisbon? The Jews of Cadiz? The Jews of Toulouse? Marseille. The Jews of Bristol, the great slave port of England, Bristol. Because that's where the great voyages were planned. Who had the money to put those ships on the sea, to send them out for 3 months, and to take that route over to Africa and back again? Who had the money to finance these huge caravans to go and fetch slaves across? Who were the great merchants of the Middle East? Who were the great merchants of Europe? Answer me, brothers and sisters, who were they? Jews! So how the hell they weren't in the slave trade? They never cared about how they turned an honest dollar. And we have... Well, from their point of view, it's an honest dollar, although they are lamenting the fact now and denying it.
Can run on for a long time, run on for a long time, run on for a long time. Sooner or later, gotta cut you down. You can run on for a long time, run on for a long time. Run on for a long time. Sooner or later, gotta cut you down. Run on for a long time.
The white Christian-blooded American is the sole remaining obstacle that can block the Jews' ascension to world power. So successful have these fiends been in the last 100 years that now their evil design is published widely enough for all the world to read. In bringing you up to this present-day reality, we must first go back and highlight a few of the stepping stones of Jewish hatred and show you how long the diabolical scheme has been drilled into the mind and heart of every Jew of every generation. 54 years ago, in 1912, a leading communist Jew in England named Israel Cohen wrote a book called A Racial Program for the 20th Century. The following passage can be found on page 8559 of the Congressional Record. We must realize that our party's most powerful weapon is racial tension. By propounding into the consciousness of the dark races that for centuries they have been oppressed by the whites, we can mold them to the program of the Communist Party. In America, we will aim for subtle victory. While inflaming the Negro against the whites, we will endeavor to instill in the whites a guilt complex for their exploitation of Negroes. How is that, you stupid, brainwashed Christian clergy? But we continue from Cohen's book. Quote, we will aid the Negroes to rise to prominence in every walk of life, in the professions, in the world of sports and entertainment. With this prestige, the Negro will be able to intermarry with the whites and begin a process which will deliver America to our cause. Unquote. Now do you see why any group picture on Jewish television, newspapers, and magazines must include a Negro as part of this plan outlined over 50 years ago in England?
A student from the University of Oxford submitted a story to us that said, quote, at dinner with some people on my course, somebody asked me whether the Jews, quote, had it coming in the Holocaust. Because, quote, you call yourselves the chosen ones.
Anti-Semitism on college campuses is at an all-time high. Jewish on Campus was created by Jewish students to fight back.
We have ambassadors who serve as students' representatives for their university and the voice of Jewish students at their schools.
They encourage students to share their stories of anti-Semitism.
I originally was scared to share my story because I felt so alone, but seeing such a wide array of Jewish students submitting their instances made me feel the power to share my story as well.
Jewish on Campus processes the data they receive and release their findings to find solutions to combat anti-Jewish hatred on campus.
Which schools are we getting the most incidents from? Why are we getting incidents from specific schools? These are the trends that we're trying to unpack.
They also work with students to start petitions, facilitate discussions with administrators, and help file Title VI cases to fight anti-Semitism on campus.
It is very intimidating to speak to administration when you do experience any form of anti-Semitism or any form of bigotry. Having a platform for students to own their narrative and to speak to other students who understand it gives a lot of latitude to be able to feel empowered.
Jewish on Campus stands as the voice of Jewish college students in the U.S. and Canada.
It's been an empowering thing to be a part of, to have that group of people around you that are going through similar experiences and are equally as empowered to create change. I know that feeling of being silent, and I never want someone else to be in that position again.
If you're a Jewish student on campus, know your story matters, your voice matters, and you need to be heard. Share your story, fight for your Jewish identity. Don't let the anti-Semites win.
The three women who founded Black Lives Matter are literal witches and warlocks. They are Satan worshippers. You have to wake up to that fact. You are helping them use their spells, conjure up spirits, and do their satanic rituals at the scene. They go to these cities and they pour water down on the ground wherever a black person was shot or killed for whatever reason, because it's part of their satanic ritual.
Waukesha Wilson.
They do satanic rituals directly in front of you, and you don't even realize it. You say his name, say his name, say her name, say her name. Black Lives Matter told you to do that because that's part of their satanic spell.
George Floyd! George Floyd! George Floyd! George Floyd!
If you believe in Jesus Christ, if you believe in God, and if you believe in the fact that Satan is evil and he wants you to burn in hell and he wants to devour you, you cannot be part of this movement.
When we say the names, right, so we speak their names, we say her name, say their names, we do that all the time, that you kind of invoke that spirit, and then those spirits actually become present with you, right?
The healing begins. This is why, because the Jewish community and the black community, we should be together. Jews and blacks we shouldn't fight, but there shouldn't be tension. Jews and blacks should get together and get whitey. I think. Huh.
But I'm going to channel an old preacher that I admire tremendously, Jeremiah Wright. Yeah. And I'm going to say, God damn white America. Damn white America. White America is a lie.
Come on now.
I'm sick of the bodies of black and brown people being slaughtered in our streets.
Race war! Yeah, kill the whites! Race war!
But, you know, we really need to thank Jews. We need to thank Jews for everything that they've done for us. You know, we're coming off of Thanksgiving. We need to thank them for all the transgender children who are killing themselves. Yep, who's behind the rise in transgenderism? 4,000% explosion in kids identifying as transgender. Docs perform double mastectomies on healthy teen girls. The gender revolution. Number of children being referred to gender identity clinics has quadrupled in 5 years. So this little graphic mentions how Magnus Hirschfeld, a Jewish sexologist in Weimar, Germany, is considered the pioneer of transgenderism. He created the Institute of Sexual Research, where he performed the first ever sex change surgery. Since then, transgenderism has exploded in popularity in the 21st century. Here's who is leading the push. So with the National Center for Transgender Equality, it's Mara Kiesling, who's Jewish, who founded it. The TLDEF, which is a Transgender Legal Defense and Education Fund, was founded by Gillian Weiss and Michael Silverman, Jewish of course. GLESSON is gay, lesbian, straight, or something, I don't know. Director is Eliza Byard. TSER, which is a Trans Student Education Resources. The founder is Ellie Ehrlich. And Sylvia Rivera Law Project, the founder is Dean Spade. And really you could go on and list all the Jews who have been behind this big push. And if you just take the rainbow in general, you can go back to Biden's remarks about how Jews have been at the forefront of normalizing all of that, and they really have played an outsized role.
This is an image of a fallen civilization. What you see is two depraved men in public on the back of a pickup truck. One is near naked and the other is whipping his butt in LGBTQ celebration. This is America, but these scenes are being repeated in most white, formerly Christian nations. It's a war on Christian values. You might ask who is behind it. I'll answer that at the end of the video. What is sickening is this degenerate behavior has been so normalized that equally depraved citizens turn out to watch and cheer on the spectacle with their children. Yet, the very same parents desire and proclaim safety and security for their children, but they care nothing about their moral values. Hypocrisy and the conditioning of the society is now complete. It's now incapable of discernment or moral judgment. We got here via the Trojan horse of tolerance, diversity, equity, and inclusion, wherein all judgment has been suspended. All manner of unrestrained horrors are now possible that indifference and acquiescence is the norm. It has been a concerted and sustained Jewish attack on Christianity by Jews who control our media, Hollywood, elite academia, and have bought, bribed, and blackmailed our leaders, as did the Jew Jeffrey Epstein, working with Israel's intelligence agency, Mossad. LGBTQ values are Talmudic Jewish values. The World Jewish Congress video I'll show at the end proudly tells you so. Indeed, it boasts so. We have truly returned to Sodom and Gomorrah. It's time for God to release the fire and brimstone. God, please help us.
I am Jewish and proud because Jews have always done what's right. We've led the fight for gay rights. Harvey Milk fought to ban discrimination based on sexual orientation. Eddie Windsor was a leader in the fight for marriage equality. Miriam Ben Shalom challenged the ban on gay people serving in the military. The Jewish principle of Tikkun Olam tells us that we have the power to change the world. And there are so many ways to do that. And this is why I am Jewish and proud.
But some governments and corporations, for the first time in history, have the power to basically hack human beings. There is a lot of talk about hacking computers, hacking smartphones, hacking bank accounts, but the big story of our era is the ability to hack human beings. And by this I mean that if you have enough data and you have enough computing power, you can understand people better than they understand themselves, and then you can manipulate them in ways which were previously impossible. And in such a situation, the old democratic system stopped functioning. We need to reinvent democracy for this new era in which humans are now hackable animals. You know, the whole idea that humans have, you know, they have this soul or spirit and they have free will and nobody knows what's happening inside me. So whatever I choose, whether in the election or whether in the supermarket, this is my free will, that's over. We need to come to terms with the fact that, no matter, again, this is where philosophy meets computer science and biology.
Look at them. They're going through the woods. They're not getting processed. They're going another way. They just came in through the gate or through the barbed wire and they're just... Dude, they're just going through the woods. They're going through the woods. I'm gonna follow. There's a large group. They're just going through the woods or along the other side. This is wild. I've never seen this yet. I told you sometimes they bypass this stuff. Now, I don't know if they just don't know, but they're supposed to go over there. And now they're just walking away without being processed. And they just went right through the barbed wire. What in the world is going on here, folks?
Give me the keys and everything. Give me the keys. Give me your money, everything. Keys, everything. Everything. Money, keys, purse. Here are the keys. Purse. The keys. Oh, give me your purse. Give me your fucking purse right now. What up, cuz? Okay, lay down. Okay. I got police. I got the keys.
अंदर आएगा
So, as South Africa continues to descend into absolute chaos, boa farmers are having to deal with sudden attacks in the night. These attacks have become so frequent, dangerous and violent that some farmers are resorting to feeding and trying to tame lions in the hopes that they will keep potential attackers away. Just take a look.
Hulle het nou 'n nuwe tipe plaashond of 'n waghond wat hulle gebruik in die aande hier op die plaas. En ek beloof vir jou, daar is geen moeilikheid hierso in die aand met plaasaanvalle nie. Hallo my seun. Lobongula. Kom hier. Kom op. So ja, baie goeie alarmstelsel op 'n plaas, natuurlik 'n leeu. En dit is hartseer, maar as jy reine waarheid hierdie mense, dit is geensins aansit in 'n leen hierdie nie. My vriend regtig waar hier word beplande plaas aanvalle beplan, hulle die inligting gekry en hulle het geen ander keuse as om hierdie leeu in die aand om hulle plaashuis los te laat nie. Hulle het wel 'n manier om die leeu weer terug in die kamp te kry. Maar dit is tragies as ons boere tot sulke mates moet gaan omdat hulle onveilig voel. Dit is hartseer en die plaasaanvalle is iets verskriklik deesdae. Nietemin, dis nog steeds vir my 'n riem onder die hart en sag op die oog om 'n leeu in die aand so naby in die huis te sien. En jy kan nie anders as om te sê dit is maar jou beste waghond wat jy kan kry hierdie nie.
It's my right to live here, and I might have more children. Unrepentant father of 8 immigrant who turned down a too small 5-bed council house defends his life on handouts. A French migrant who scoffed at the offer of a 5-bedroom house has refused to rule out, adding to the 8 children who have already helped him claim more than £100,000 in benefits.
Thank you.
Gracias. Gracias. Agradecido con el país.
It's important as far as the education campaign and the things that we need to do to address these issues is to challenge this misinformation or this disinformation. White nationalists advocate for a white ethnic state. They put forth conspiracy theories with respect to white genocide. and the Great Replacement. It's nothing to be played with. If we allow this kind of these noxious beliefs to continue as our diversity continues across the country, this is what we're dealing with. You spoke to the diversity in your area, in your district. And the U.S. is experiencing kind of great demographic shifts, and that is not playing well with a lot of white folks, and so they're putting forward this false narrative that there's a white genocide afoot. And it'll take a little bit of work to convince them that it's not true.
Yeah, I guess I'm wondering about whether we have the capacity within the military in terms of having trained personnel who can deal with this in an ongoing way.
This white supremacist theory that Jews are driving for, quote, open borders to commit white genocide, as they call it, to replace America as it looks today with Muslims and Mexicans and other people.
Jews are the ones who want to welcome refugees because it's a conspiracy. And the truth is that, yes, there are Jews in Pittsburgh who are working to resettle refugees. That is true.
White Americans who feel that they're losing their country, they're losing ownership of the country. And they're right. I mean, we are becoming more diverse, more multicultural, and they are, in the end, they are not the future. In the end, the power they still have will go away.
That we're witnessing the end of white America as we know it. The question is, how long and how expensive will the funeral be?
Brown people and black people and Muslims and immigrants are coming to replace our white civilization, and the Jew's job is basically to pass as a white person, but in fact do the bidding of these people that we.
There are many people who are biologically and even halakhically Jewish, that is to say they are Jewish. They brainwashed people to subscribe to the notion that most desirable utopian reality that could be hoped for in human affairs would be a complete admixture of the nations, of the ethnic groups, and of the cultures.
It's a kind of utopia, just the fact that the whole world will mix up with each other, that in, 70, 80 years, there will be no white people anymore, and only cappuccino-colored.
Good. That's the only way. This is the only solution.
But when the diversity becomes so extreme that you have almost like balkanized groups, that there are no actual traditional communities. All the traditional communities are outnumbered completely by newcomers, and the newcomers keep on and on rolling in. It has a very alienating effect.
Folks like me who are Caucasian of European descent, for the first time in 2017, will be in an absolute minority in the United States of America. Absolute minority. Fewer than 50% of the people in America from then and on.
So let's break this down again. You have forced mass non-white immigration into white countries, and only white countries. Upon this, we have the government forcing integration to all white living spaces within the country. And then they promote miscegenation all day and all night while demonizing everything that is traditional or white.
And deliberately inflicting on that group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part.
It's genocide.
Who am I to decide?
do not care.
They don't educate us on the stuff we need to know.
What do you think we need to know?
Boys need to know what girls have to, what girls go through, and they need to know how to treat a girl. They're not learning this.
It's a joke. Like
they don't, in a way, they think that it's not that serious in a way, because they've let them boys come back into our school without an issue.
So, do you know if the girl that was allegedly assaulted is coming back?
No, because she's frightened.
Well, of course.
She's traumatised. She's
terrified.
As a community, we are terrified for ourselves and for that girl.
Did it happen in the school?
Yeah. Yes.
It did?
Yes, and allegedly, and nothing has been done about that. No one has took it into consideration that the boys would do it again.
So their main concern is us protesting.
Yeah, their main concern is us causing a riot, basically.
So they're saying that there's no proof it happened in the school.
They're too concerned about like skirts and
we have assemblies about our uniform, our attendance, the way we look, but they don't do anything about sexual stuff.
Sogno l'orizzonte, mancano le parole. Sì, lo so che non c'è luce in una stanza quando manca il sole. Se non ci sei tu con me, sì. Le finestre mostrar tutto il mio cuore che è acceso. Chiudi dentro me la luce che ha incontrato per strada. Time to say goodbye. Paesi che non ho mai vissuto con te. Adesso sì li vivrò con te. Partirò sulle navi per mari che io lo so non esistono più. It's time to say goodbye.
Quando sei lontana sogno all'orizzonte e manca le parole. E io sì lo so che sei con me, tu mia luna, tu sei qui con me. Mio sole, tu sei qui con me, con me, con me, con me. Time to say goodbye. Paesi che non ho mai veduto e vissuto con te. Adesso sì li vivrò con te. Partirò su navi per mari
fin des temps, les peuples voudront faire la guerre entre eux. Mais ils verront que s'ils font la guerre entre eux, le seul qui va en profiter en fait, c'est le peuple d'Israël. Alors, ils vont tout faire pour pas rentrer en guerre. Mais néanmoins, c'est marqué, comme ça a dit Rabbi Joël Meakta, par la tignasse de leur chevelure, de force, ils seront obligés de rentrer en guerre.
A few notes on the Jew. Jews are antisocial, destructive, intolerant, mean-spirited, deceitful, etc. They wish to destroy, ruin, kill, rob, whoever gets in their way. To facilitate them getting what they want, they have developed a perverted, unnatural, destructive, evil lifestyle. Even though they live off of the non-Jews as parasites, they still hate them and wish to destroy them. Jews hate nature and the natural order because it's pure and beautiful, and also because it's bigger and stronger than they are, and they feel that they cannot fully control it. Nature's beauty and harmony stands in stark contrast to their squalidness and ugliness, and that makes them hate it all the more. Jews are destroyers. They are anti-humans. The anti-human Jew hates and wants to destroy all non-Jews. He will also destroy even other Jews who are less destructive and evil than he is if they get in his way. Apparently, the wickedness of the Jew is genetically based. Jews are destroyers. They are anti-humans. By the act of circumcision, the Jew shows his hatred towards nature and the natural order. By this bloody, cruel, senseless act, he shows his cruelty and sadism, and that he will stop at nothing to obtain his ends. Surely the Jews are also behind Islamic circumcision, which serves as an ideal cover and distraction from their own wickedness in this regard. Jews are truly anti-human and anti-nature. Jews are intensely selfish, intolerant, and antisocial, etc. They are full of hate, greed, malice, etc. Naturally, other people, i.e. the non-Jews, don't like being bulldozed aside, robbed, and murdered by the Jews, and will sooner or later resist. That is where the lies and deceit of the Jews come into play. Yeah, no, I don't think there'll be any peace until these Jews are dealt with. These people are animals. They're just bastards, you know, absolute animals.
הוא מרביץ עם הדגל, לא דיברתי. זה הגדה. זה יודע.
הבית שלנו. באים עליי, בית שלנו.
Ментов вызывай, слышишь, блядь? Ментов вызывай!
А ну вызывай, давай сюда,
сука, блядь, тварь!
Давай! Спрашивай сельчанина, ну давай сюда, давай!
Заводи, сказать, за ментов.
Давай! Я еврейка, вас замочу, здесь с нами всех! А вы на мне лапу поднимите на еврейка, вас замочу!
Ментовка, а не евреи! Жиды, а не евреи, запомни, блядь, тварь! Жиды, а не евреи, понял? Нет такого еврея! Жиды были, пождите!
Я порву! Вы все мясо для меня, все пацаны мясо порву, вы твари, блин! И вот я понимаю, ничего я не понимаю, я вас разорву здесь всех! Давайте попробуем! Всех, блин, всех! А, давай, ну иди сюда! А ну иди сюда! Иди сюда! Иди сюда! Иди сюда! Иди сюда! Да я тебя на синагоге распну! Понятно, в синагоге распну тебя! Нажирать вас разорву так на потрохах! Понятно вам? Это нормально? Я синагогу пойду, буду жаловаться своим раввинам. Раввины разорвут меня. Я посмотрю, что будет израильский мусульман, это все узнает. Он Путина шмонает, только так. Я говорю, ты же еврей шмонать израильский мусульман. Ты че? А вы втроем? Я посмотрю, что израильский мусульман еврей, поэтому поиграй. Хорошо поиграй. Я не на мясо разорвусь. Ты посмотри, идет раньше Спицермана, да весь Израиль все узнали. Весь Израиль, весь еврейский народ их разорвет, и все мои евреи здесь будут все. Они разорвут так их всех. Кого-нибудь. Вот увидишь, вот он посмотрит, что кого убьет. Посмотрит. Я посмотрю, что кого убьет.
Director General of Israel's Ministry of Strategic Affairs, Sima Vaknin-Gil, told a forum of Israeli tech developers to flood the internet with pro-Israel propaganda. When she was Israel's chief censor, she said, "We censor information that is critical to our enemies, who have no capabilities like us, do not have a Jewish brain, and therefore our enemy relies to a large extent on open information." Her ministry has a budget of roughly $70 million to fight what it calls a war on consciousness terrorism. To win it, she said, Israel must use tricks and craftiness.
To give you the scope of the system covers the entire internet right now, 2 social networks, Facebook and Twitter, and it covers all the posts, all the tweets. Of them, it identifies every day 200,000 suspect posts and tweets that are suspected for anti-Semitism. Then it analyzes them using artificial intelligence and machine learning, and ultimately identifies roughly 10,000 anti-Semitic posts a day. As of now and forward, this information is going to be made public. It in itself will be a great deterrent to anti-Semitism. Suddenly we'll know which city is the most anti-Semite city in terms of internet activity. We'll know who are the 10 top anti-Semitic tweets and Twitters. We'll know on a certain day we see a spike in anti-Semitism. We'll be able to drill down and understand what caused it. Just by the fact of knowing all of this, it in itself hopefully will shame people into acting better. Here in Tel Aviv at a specific location, it's up and running. This command center takes the information that is analyzed and created here and then acts. It could be, for example, identifying a specific post that is calling for anti-Semitic action and then notifying the local intelligence and law enforcement forces in a certain European country. It could be to tell the municipality of a certain city, and this week I might say that Manchester is one of the highest anti-Semite activities. So call up the mayor and tell him, do something about this. So by knowing this information, we can act. And this group of analysts within the command center, it's up and running as of now.
Some zoo students are concerned after racist flyers were found on campus that many feel promote white supremacy. MU spokesperson Christian Basie said the school's aware of the flyers, but they aren't allowed to take them down because they are protected by free speech.
time will stop. Children, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. There's battle lines being drawn. Nobody's right if everybody's wrong. Young people speaking their minds. I'm getting so much resistance from behind. Time will stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. What a field day for the heat. 1,000 people in the street, singing songs and they carry signs. Mostly say hooray for our side. It's time we stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Paranoia strikes deep into your life, it will creep. It starts when you're always afraid. Step out of line, the man come and take you away. You better stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. You better stop now. What's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. You better stop. What's that sound?
You're pushing these white folk and you're pushing them. The long-legged Mac Dad is pushing them and pushing them and pushing them. And they're going to get, listen, you're going to push poor people to the point where they're not going to take it no more. These white folk are not going to take it. You're taking their tax money. You're closing down their jobs. You're shutting down their banks. You're telling them what they can and cannot do. You're giving billions of dollars to Acorn. You're taking their tax money and giving it to people to buy drugs. You're killing babies and you won't stop. You're telling lies and you're demoralizing our nation. You're destroying everything that has made this nation. White folk getting ready to rise up. They don't want to take it no more. I'm joining.